Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, you find a way to lose. And let me tell you something right now. When it comes to sports, boxing, golf, basketball, soccer, let me tell you something. You are losing if you don't take advantage of those paydays that Saudi Arabia is putting out for specific athletes. Let me tell you something. We already know. Well, let's just peel this all the way back. We know that there's big money in Saudi. We understand that Daniel Kinahan, his connections to Saudi, his connections to the mob, we know that there's something there. There was something there, okay? Since Kinahan's gone underground, there's no proof of any connection to Saudi Arabia, but some of the people who he had very close relationships with, they've gone on to grow sports in Saudi Arabia. Now, I'm not saying there's any connection to anything illegal. What I'm telling you is there's people that he had very close ties with have gone on and kind of taken his master plan or his blueprint, and they've been able to bubble up sports in Saudi Arabia. Now, you've heard about golf and the billions of dollars that was being poured into golf. Some of the biggest names in golf, they were to bring some over to Saudi, playing this huge tournament, right? But then a lot of that stuff was getting shut down because the PGA was saying to some of those players, you go over there, you can't come, like basically you come back here, no more sponsorship deals, you can't play pro golf anymore. Because, those small ball sports don't want anything to do with just the reputation, man, and the human rights issue and the women's rights issue and the things that the Western world don't agree with Saudi Arabia. So they don't want their sport or their players over there representing sports in Saudi Arabia because they don't want to have any ties to that. Long story short, it doesn't matter if you're someone who feels going to play a sport in Saudi Arabia is morally or unethically wrong, right? Doesn't matter. Just put yourself in the shoes of someone like a Lionel Messi who gets offered to play 1 year in Saudi Arabia for $900 million. Yo, you understand? Play soccer 1 year, $900 million. Or you look at this guy, Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, $200 million a year to go play soccer. You look at it, right? James Harden offered $900 million to go play a year of basketball, right? Then you look at the fact that in boxing, Joshua has made up to $80 million for one fight. Usyk made 40 to 50 million. You look at Tyson Fury going over there and wanting $500 million. Now, when he was asking for that kind of money, we all thought that he was crazy. And I still think he's crazy. Then he wanted 200 million. Then he hears more like 100 million, right? Bottom line is this. What Tyson Fury was asking for, yeah, he's trying to suck out the eyeballs of the Saudis by asking for so much money, but it's not that they can't pay him. So I'll tell you that right now. But when you look at them offering a $900 million 1 year contract to Ronaldo for soccer or to James Harden for basketball, and you think about how many games are they going to get out of Ronaldo, out of Messi? Messi got the $900 million. Ronaldo got like $200 million a year. How many games are they going to get out of Messi? How many games are they going to get out of James Harden for basketball to give them almost $1 billion for 1 year? Then you look at Tyson Fury for however many minutes his fight lasts, thinking he's going to get $500 million. That's where you can see the disconnect that would come into play, because why give you that kind of money for one fight? So I'm sure if they would have offered Tyson Fury $500 million, they'd probably want like 4 or 5 fights from, 5 fights or something like that from him. They'd want something more than just one fight to give him that kind of money. That's why you look at kind of the way the numbers are falling. And Tyson Fury's saying now, hey, look, the fight between me and AJ, me and Usyk, may never happen. Because Tyson Fury knows what kind of money's out there. And for him to fight those guys, He knows that. I think he believes he can beat him, but I think he's also realistic, knowing, hey, look, this is boxing, anything can happen. But if you want me to fight those guys who've already fought in Saudi, the Saudis want this fight. If they want me bad enough, they're going to pay me. But that being said, you even have Giannis, plays with the Bucks, Kumpo, whatever the hell his last name is, right? Giannis is out here. He's looking after if he can break lock with his contract with the NBA, he will go play soccer or professional basketball in Saudi Arabia. Because they're looking at this money. Giannis is making like $40 million a year in the NBA. He go over there and make $500 million, $900 million in 1 year playing in this Saudi league. People, pay attention. The secret society is out here at work. And whether you like it or not, you look at what's going on. The Saudis are able to siphon the elite players from different sports, and they're bringing them over, just like DAZN brought Canelo over to DAZN. People were scared to mess with DAZN. Then Canelo went, and then things kind of opened up big time. They're like, whoa, he went because of the money. These guys going to Saudi because of the money. And something else I want y'all to pay attention to. DAZN is going to be airing, I think has exclusive rights or something like that, to air all of these sporting events. So when we talk about the secret society, the fly on the wall, it just being part of those conversations with those key decision makers that we don't have no idea who they are. When you look at the fact that DAZN is going to be showing sports for Saudi Arabia and all these big names that are being signed, you telling me that Eddie Hearn, AJ, Chisora, that they're not part of some kind of what I'm going to call the secret society's A-team when it comes to boxing? You understand? You look, Eddie Hearn and those guys have been working over there in Saudi Arabia for quite some time. Who Eddie Hearn knows, I don't want to assume, but I know for a fact he's worked with Kinahan before. Not saying he still is. As far as I know, Kinahan's somewhere underneath the rock. But we know that Eddie Hearn has had that connection to Saudi Arabia for quite some time. Does that not seem a little weird to you guys? Does that make you wonder what the hell is Eddie Hearn's relationship with the Saudis, and just what kind of role is he playing, and how deeply embedded he is when it comes to what I call the secret society and the key decision makers behind the scenes who are pulling strings when it comes to the sport of boxing? Because when I look at what Saudi's doing and how they have their stuff showing on DAZN, I look at what DAZN's doing, and I look at Eddie Hearn has a connection between DAZN and with the Saudis. Y'all can't tell me that doesn't raise some suspicion. Now, I'm not saying there's any foul play. I'm just saying, for me, it's like I would like to know more. It's interesting to me, especially when you know all this started. Kinahan having an idea, getting over there to Pakistan, Amir Khan, Richard Schaefer. Y'all understand? People pay attention. I'm trying to piece all this together because this massive paydays, and to know that they got all the money, right? It goes back to where'd that $1 billion come from for DAZN. I get it, but when you really peel all this back, where did all that money really come from for DAZN? Where did that $1 billion come from that Eddie Hearn was given? Did it come to some guy who was this investor and made all this money and decided he wanted to invest in this application and branch out from what he was doing to get into boxing? Or did that money come from somewhere else? Maybe somewhere in that secret society. And all of a sudden, it gets funneled through Eddie Hearn for him to come out here now and start pushing boxing. But at the same time, they're trying to figure out how to crack into those other markets like golf, soccer, basketball, race car, NASCAR, the whole race car driving, all that. and they're trying to figure it out. Now you fast forward 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of where we are now, and now they're cracking into those markets. But they said, you know what? We couldn't come over there to the States. We couldn't go over to these other continents, these other countries. You know what? We're going to take their athletes. We're going to create our own here. And we're going to get the elite athletes because we're going to give them the kind of money that they'll never, ever see. Because they know that these guys are going to lose sponsorships, endorsement deals, etc. So for those guys that come over there with them, they're going to make sure they give them, they're more than compensated to where they say, you know what, it's worth it coming over here. Now, my thing is looking at it long term. If for some reason the investment doesn't go as planned, well then, I don't know how those athletes can really sleep comfortably at night. They may wake up with a chicken in their bed or something, you know what I'm saying? They may wake up with someone put a damn camel head in their bed or something, that's all I'm saying. They better be careful what they're getting themselves involved with, chasing this money. But it makes you wonder about boxing, and just to see how they're going to keep growing their skills, challenge promotions. I personally think with that kind of money, guys should look into it. And if everything is straightforward, there's no secret society business, go after it. But you can't make me believe that there's not something more to what's going on. And I know they got the dough. They got the oil, billions and billions of dollars invested into sports. I get it. But I'm just telling y'all, this Saudi Arabia, if everything is straightforward, no secret society business, they will take over sports. They will take over sports. They will. And they have the money to do it. They have the infrastructure. They have the brains. And with that money, they'll be able to have the talent. And when I say talent, not just the guys playing the sports, guys who know the business of all sports, small ball sports, large ball sports, soccer, basketball, football, ping pong, volleyball. You understand? Everything, basketball, So all I'm telling you is just sit back and pay attention, because I think what their vision over the next 5 to 10 years, that the NBA is going to dry up. I don't know about Major League Baseball and golf, but I could see those leagues drying up and everything going to Saudi, because they have endless money and they're looking to invest it in players. And just like boxing, if these guys can somehow break lock with their fears about going over to Saudi Arabia, those Saudis, depending on how these guys' contracts are worded, if they can get out of their contracts, they can go over to Saudi and make a bunch of money. And this is what's going to happen. Those championship bouts aren't going to matter no more. What do I care if I'm a professional boxer, right? An athlete in any sport, when you have a trophy or you have a belt on the line, right? Doesn't matter. What do I care about that if I can go over there in Saudi Arabia and fight people and make $50 million a fight, $30 million a fight, and I come back here stateside and fight for a belt and only make $3 million? Or I go out there playing, a year-round sport and get for a trophy and only make, $15 million that year, when I can go over there to Saudi Arabia and make $200 million a year. Yeah, okay, the competition may be stiff, but it ain't NBA competition. And maybe the type of recognition isn't as prestigious, but I'm gonna get paid a lot more money for a much easier outing, and probably much easier on my body. It's not hard to sit there and figure that out. Do that shit for a year, 2 years, as long as everything's straightforward, and come on back to the States and never do any of that crap again. Go out there and whatever it is you want to do, then pursue your passion, because they set you up in generations to come. That being said, pay attention, people. Ronaldo, Giannis is talking about going. You got Messi over there. Neymar is over there. Man just signed a ridiculous deal over there in Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? They flew this man over on I don't know if it was a C-17 or whatever, but they flew him over on a modified, I think it's some big ass cargo plane. Anyway, $500 million jet. They flew him over there. He's over there in Saudi Arabia now. People are pissed talking about how he's on this big jet that was modified to have basically bedrooms and a bar and an entertainment area. It made into basically a flying house. And then they're looking at Ronaldo. People are like, man, he's crazy. He's making at least $200 million a year, and he's living in a house with 17 rooms that costs $300,000 a month. And people are sour, but them Saudis are taking care of those guys. What NBA player? They may even try to create hockey over there. NHL player, Major League Baseball player, football, anything. What player wouldn't be interested in that? Pay attention, people. More to come on this thing, but before I was just talking about golf, talking about NASCAR, talking about boxing. Now you're looking at everything else they're branching into, and they got the attention of these players. I'm telling you, it's going to take off. And you know what? This is good because some of those guys who are playing in the semi-pro leagues and stuff like that weren't able to get to the NBA. Maybe this is an opportunity for those guys too. And I don't know about the females yet, but for those guys to get over there and make some serious money. That being said, y'all need to really look into this, follow it, let's see what direction it goes. Because I think the more it grows, the more, high-profile athletes they pull over there, the more of a buzz it's going to create, and it's going to create a stir, and it's going to get reported on, and it's going to create a huge talking point. Right now, I don't know if it's positive or negative, but with all that money, for any athlete who they don't even get paid a 1% of what they bring to these leagues, I think they should go get that money, as long as it's straightforward. That being said, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.